You keep waiting for them to realize what they lost. Here's what no one tells you. They already know. They ran the numbers a long time ago and decided you weren't worth what it would cost to keep you. That's the thought that keeps you up. The sense that somewhere out there, they have to be sorry. They are. Just not for anything you'd recognize as sorry. Because a person like this keeps a kind of ledger. Everyone they've ever known is an entry on it. A column for what you gave, a column for what you cost, a running total in the margin. When they think about you now, they go straight to the balance. Your laugh doesn't enter into it. And yes, there are things on that page they regret. 5 of them, roughly, in almost every case. But not one of those regrets is the thing you've been praying they'd finally feel. Here's what's actually written down. 5 entries. Same handwriting, almost every time. The 5th is the one they'd burn the whole book to keep you from reading, because it's the only entry that isn't really about you at all. We'll get there. Before we open the ledger, subscribe. We do this every week. The first entry surprises people most. What they regret losing is the thing you did for them. You, the actual person, barely comes into it. There was a job you held that you never applied for. You were the person who steadied them. When they spiraled at 11 at night over some slight at work, you were the one who talked them down. When they walked into a crowded room unsure of themselves, your face was the first one they found. And if you were calm, they were calm. Heinz Kohut, the psychoanalyst who spent his life mapping this exact personality, had a word for what you were to them. A self-object, a person the psyche uses like a limb to regulate a self that can't regulate itself. So when the room gets loud now and there's no one steady in it, they feel the loss. Sharp, real, sometimes at 3 in the morning. But go and look at what they're actually missing. It's the service, the free, around-the-clock, emotionally skilled labor of keeping them upright, which they're now discovering is genuinely expensive to replace. That ache they feel, you keep reading as buried love finally surfacing. Look closer. It's the ache of someone who lost a very good, very reliable machine and can't find one that runs as well. They're grieving the function. They always were. Which is why the "I miss you" text, when it finally lands, always feels a half-inch off. You keep searching it for the person. What you find is a vacancy notice. Which brings us to the second entry. And this one they'd never admit, because admitting it means admitting the whole thing was a decision. They regret the timing. The leaving itself was deliberate, calculated, planned, chosen. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, who has spent her career inside these relationships, describes the discard plainly. It's a supply decision, driven by math, not feeling. Someone newer showed up promising a better return, or you got a little harder to extract from, and the account stopped feeling worth the upkeep. So here is what they actually regret: closing your account before the new one cleared, because the replacement doesn't know the things you knew. The new supply doesn't know how they take their coffee, doesn't know which topics to steer around at dinner, doesn't know to cover for them before they've even asked. You knew all of it. You'd been trained into it over years. And a few weeks in, standing in a kitchen beside someone who doesn't yet know the choreography, it lands on them. You were fully installed, and they threw that away for a demo. Read what that regret actually says. I scrapped a working system too early. Now notice the words that aren't in it. Nowhere on that line does it say, I hurt someone who loved me. That sentence isn't in their vocabulary. And if they circle back, the birthday text, the just thinking of you, the sudden warmth after months of nothing, this is usually why. It's not the heart reopening. It's a manager trying to rehire the employee they fired because the new hire didn't work out and the old one already knew the job. There's a third entry, though, and they guard it harder than all the rest, because you're the only person alive who can read it. They regret that you saw it. You're the only one who ever did. Everyone else got the good version, the charm, the easy laugh, the person the whole party leans toward. You got the other one, the face that surfaced the second the door clicked shut, and the audience was gone. The coldness with no cause, the long silences, the thing behind the eyes you could never quite describe to anyone afterward, because who would believe it? Kohut described a specific wound he called narcissistic injury, the devastation that hits when the hidden self, the one under all the grandeur, gets seen. You didn't just glimpse it, you lived inside it, for years, holding a version of them that nobody else will ever meet. You became the keeper of the one thing they've spent their whole life making sure no one sees. And that is unbearable to them. So watch what they do with it. They don't come to you ashamed. They go to everyone else first. The quiet campaign, the honestly she was kind of unstable, delivered warmly to your own friends. The careful work of turning you into the villain before you can get a word out. People feel that as pure cruelty, and it is. But underneath the cruelty is something smaller and more frightened. Someone racing to discredit the one person holding the evidence. That's the third entry. They don't regret being that person with you. They regret that you're still out there, the auditor who saw the real books and knows the numbers were always fake. The fourth entry has a date on it. They can tell you the exact day. The day you went quiet. Not the day you cried. Not the day you screamed. Those days were fine for them. Here's the part survivors take longest to believe. The anger, the tears, the 3-paragraph text explaining how badly they hurt you. All of it was food. Dr. Ramani names it exactly. Your emotional reaction is the supply. It's the dividend the whole account exists to produce. Falling apart they could use. The day that actually cost them was the one where the phone went face down and stayed there. The day they sent the message built to detonate you and got nothing back. No reply, no little scene, just silence with your name on it. That silence does something to them your pain never could. It tells them the dial has stopped working. They can turn it, and the room won't change temperature. And for someone who never learned to steady themselves from the inside, a source that goes silent registers as danger. The floor going soft under them. Watch what comes next, because it's almost scripted. First, they escalate. They push harder, get colder, manufacture a crisis, trying to force one flinch out of you. That flailing has a name. An extinction burst. Picture a slot machine that's stopped paying out, being shaken harder and harder by someone who can't understand why it went dead. Panic, dressed up as power. And when even that fails, they file the day away. The fourth entry, the day the money stopped. 4 entries. Every one of them records their loss, their cost, their wound. Your side was never entered. And that absence is the only place the truth about you is hiding. Here it is. Somewhere underneath all of it, they regret that they will never get to feel what you felt. Because you did feel it. You loved, actually loved, the costly, all-in, lie-awake-at-night kind. That capacity in you, the one that made you stay too long and forgive too much. Call it what it actually is, the strongest thing in the room. It's the exact thing they were counting on, and the exact thing they will never have. Researchers who study these traits keep landing on the same split. People high in them can read emotion with ease. They clock what you're feeling in an instant. That's what made the manipulation so precise. What they lack is the other half, the ability to actually feel it back. to be moved by it. So they spend a lifetime running the same page. Charm someone, use them, discard them, do the math, turn the page, begin again. And they never once arrive at the thing the whole book was supposedly for. And you're lying there wondering if they got the better end of this. So look at the two futures honestly. Theirs, the same ledger, the same handwriting, a new name at the top every couple of years, forever, alone in a way they will never have the language to name. Yours, gutted right now, yes, but with a heart that still works, still able to be moved, still able to walk out into weather and actually feel it on your skin. You keep waiting for them to be sorry, as though their sorrow would finally settle the account. But you already walked away with the only thing that was ever worth having. That's the one thing that never made it onto their page. You got to be the one in this who could feel. So let me tell you about the one entry that will never appear on that page. The apology you're still quietly waiting for. It isn't coming. And not because you didn't matter enough. It isn't coming because remorse, real remorse, the kind that wounds the person feeling it, requires them to feel your pain from the inside. That is the one thing they were never able to do. You've been waiting for a letter from someone who could never write in that language. The apology isn't late. It was never in the ledger. So stop auditing a book that was never really about you. You were never a line item. You were never an asset, a source, a working system. Those were their words for you, not the truth of you. You were a whole person who loved someone who could only ever count. That is not the same thing, and it never was. If you know someone still refreshing their phone, still waiting on the sorry that would make it all make sense, send them this. It might be the first time anyone's told them the letter was never coming, and that this is the good news, not the bad. And if this gave you language for something you've carried alone for years, subscribe. We translate what your body already knows into language your mind can finally use. We do this every week. Which of the 5 entries hit hardest? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Drop the number below. And if you want to tell me why, I read every single one.